Do not come to Chicago. That's the message today for President Trump about his plan to use National Guard troops to fight crime in the city.
Today, state and city leaders made it clear they do not want the military here. Our Chris Ty live along the Chicago River, where Democrats had a show of force. Chris?
Joe and Erica, as the rhetoric ramps up in Washington in a big way, that gathering of over 100 leaders here in the Chicago area coming together with a clear voice saying we do not want the National Guard here. Governor Pritzker, who often is the loudest voice in the room in Illinois politics, sending the message that they are watching this closely. And the message is to people who may soon protest in Chicago and those who may have the ear of the president, saying in the coming days, as you make these decisions about the National Guard, know this: we are watching, we know who has the inner ear in the Oval Office, and there could be some legal problems headed your way down the road.
We are watching, and we are taking names. If you hurt my people, nothing will stop me, not time or political circumstance, from making sure that you face justice under our constitutional rule of law.
The pivot today from the governor is that there will be deep legal ramifications if this moves forward. Now, this group of political, educational, spiritual, and community leaders here on the riverfront today pointing out that many cities have far worse crime numbers than Chicago. St. Louis, Detroit, Memphis, just to name a few. But the president remains zeroed in on blue cities and states like Chicago and Illinois. They repeatedly asked, ask yourself why that is. Here's how the president framed his current thinking at the White House today.
We may or may not. We may just go in and do it, which is probably what we should do. They need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. Just look at the crime statistics.
The president making it clear that he has not made up his mind as of this Monday evening. The Chicago homicide numbers are down starkly 30% year to date, but we still have one of the highest murder rates in the nation. The governor saying unprecedented times may be just days away. He stood side by side with Mayor Brandon Johnson, two Democrats that rarely see eye to eye these days, today coming together with a common message.
Memphis, Tennessee, Hattiesburg, Mississippi have higher crime rates than Chicago, and yet Donald Trump is sending troops here and not there? Ask yourself why.
The last thing that Chicagoans want is someone from the outside of our city who doesn't know our city try to dictate and tell us what our city needs.
With these unprecedented times, as the governor put it, Joe and Erica, another message the governor had was to would-be protesters who are likely to sort of galvanize, as they do often in Chicago in these uncertain times. The message is this: remember, don't take it out on the National Guard's men and women themselves. They could be court-martialed if they didn't follow the rules that are coming their way. So a lot of messaging here in what could be a pivotal 72 hours in this story, guys.
Chris, it's still unclear, I think, about how this might look ultimately. Might it look more like it did in L.A., where these National Guard troops were basically protecting federal buildings, or might they be in the streets of Chicago?
One of the many questions that the lack of communication generates. The governor and the mayor, Joe, both saying we have not talked to our federal counterparts to get to that very thing. Them signaling today they learned of this sort of latest iteration the way we all did through reporting of the Washington Post on Saturday night, which, by the way, does signal that the numbers here would be similar to what we saw in Los Angeles, about 4,000 or so, if the White House plan that's in pencil right now, not pen, were to go forward.
All right. Chris Ty, thank you.